Hello, everybody, and welcome to me messing up our notes, but welcome to this week's episode of Romantasy Roundtable, a tale of Rick and Roses, and I'm joined with my roses,
Amanda
and Kim.
And remember, if you're listening to this for the first time, please think about liking and subscribing to this content. We are right in the middle of, well, not middle, but beginning-ish of Fourth Wing. This week we have read chapters 11 through 20.
We're actually halfway done with Fourth Wing.
We're about halfway done with Fourth Wing right now. And I liked it so much, I bought us stickers.
He did buy us stickers, a whole stack of stickers, and we chose our favorites. Kim, what did you choose?
I chose Hope is a Dangerous Fickle Thing, which I liked. And then I took the But Are There Dragons as well.
I took one with some dragons on it and one with a sword.
And I took the world's greatest dragon, Andarna, because she's cute as hell. And, I will not die today because I am a teacher. That's how I feel every day, except I feel like I will die. But I have to keep reminding myself I won't.
You won't die. Speaking of, I would like to start us off on these chapters by playing a voice memo that I received from Cindy, our most devoted listener. If you would like to be featured on the pod, you can also send us voice memos. If we don't know you in real life, I don't know how you're going to do that.
You can send an email to romantasyroundtable@gmail.com.
Great. And if you know us in real life, you can just send us a voice memo. So this is an audio message that I received from Cindy this week.
Something that I thought about while you guys were recording, and if she's meeting dragons, then this is not a spoiler, because I think that they talk about this a lot throughout the whole book. But definitely by the time, you're in school, school's fully in session, you know this. You and Kim, I think especially, were like, I need a protagonist that knows how to read, and Violet is very smart. I think that it's kind of interesting to be like, Violet is so smart, she actually doesn't really belong where she is, and she's not like a smart person who met a adventurer bad boy and then was like, wow, I've actually been brave all along. Violet's like, I really don't want to fucking die. And as it turns out, I don't get to go to nerd school. I gotta go to adventure, get murdered, young school. And that's a fun little wrinkle, or I don't know, not really wrinkle, but difference between Fourth Wing and Violet and some of these other protagonists.
I feel like she's coming for Poppy, and I don't appreciate that.
But I love that. It's true. Violet is our book girly that we have wanted this whole time.
Adventure, Get Murdered, Young School. We're in it. We're in Adventure, Get Murdered, Young School.
Yep. Don't throw any shade to Poppy. She's can be smart when she wants to be, eventually.
Okay, we've moved on from Poppy.
I love you, Poppy.
Poppy's not in this season. Who do you like better, Poppy or Violet?
That's not a fair question.
And Feyre, I'm going to throw her in too. Those are the three series we've read.
That's not fair. It's obviously Feyre, because I know her longer. I've only known Violet for a little bit of school.
Weird that you would ever even pit strong women against each other.
You did. You did.
Should we talk about this book?
I would love to talk about this book. All right. So we've read a couple chapters, and at the beginning of this book, we start at presentation day, where the children walk and present themselves to the dragons, right? And that was a really cool chapter. I did like that. I felt a bit tense. And I was like, well, who's going to die? And I was actually surprised. I think it was Luca who died. The girl, right?
Yeah, I think so. People are dying left and right.
Yeah, but she had been annoying for a couple of chapters, so I thought she was going to be...
Oh, yeah, because the dragons thought she was annoying too.
Right. Yeah, so I thought she was going to stick around and be a little bit more annoying. But is this where we get the first words of a new dragon? This is right. This is.
Mm-hmm.
This is. This is where we first hear of a feather tail. And I was like, done. her dragon is the Feathertail.
Right. So I had this moment. I felt so confident at the end of the last section that the mysterious black dragon was going to be hers.
Me too.
And then this Feathertail showed up, and I was like, oh no, am I wrong? Is the Feathertail going to be hers?
Yeah.
And I will say, so Rick and I had this conversation in the office last week where right after he had finished reading the end of this chapter and the Feathertail had been introduced, and Rick was like, oh, the gold dragon is hers.
Yeah. It
and
is.
As I said at the time, I was like, you know nothing, Ricardo.
I'm actually 2 for 2.
because
So
It's not that simple.
it is.
I had a couple other notes from this chapter. Number one, this whole presentation situation feels very much like a debutante ball to me. And the idea of a debutante ball where your suitors are dragons is rad. I also, side note, have since been reading a book that's like a little bit Bridgerton-y, but I did write that down before I started reading that book. My other note, every time they talk about a person in the writer quadrant, they got to talk about how they have weird hair. And I'm just going back to Divergent because it's like they have purple hair and tattoos and they have sex, and it's like it's very dauntless to me. I'm not mad about it, but I just need to state that fact.
Good.
No, I was just going to say that's fair. Particularly after the dragons, they do all have weird hair and then tattoos.
I took no notes, so I'm just being riffing today. I took one note, and I'm so glad that I did because I forgot. And I think this is the chapter where they actually made me write the quote down. My favorite quote in probably any book I've ever read.
Oh,
Wow.
I'd be loyal to your sister. She's one hell of a writer, and that ass. I laughed so hard when I read that.
okay.
That was so funny. Come on, that was so freaking funny.
Yeah, I think that is the kind of dialogue that is like really representative of this book, where
Yeah.
it's like we talked about this. Like the book is not medieval, so like it's not anachronistic. It's just like they're talking about a serious thing, but also they're 20-year-olds who are gonna they're in Get Murdered Young school.
Right.
So like they're like, yeah, and also she's got an ass.
Yeah, it was really funny. It was great. All right, so then after we present to the dragons, we now must thresh. And this is where we go up to the dragons and we see if we can bond with any of them. And this is, where Violet finds a little, I was going to say Vi, but then I committed to her whole name. I actually was going to say Poppy first.
Poppy's not in this book.
We miss Poppy.
We don't.
Come on, guys. This is where Violet finds the little yellow dragon, and Jack and company are going to go kill it. She finds out, and she goes to save it.
Couple things here. First and foremost, Andarna is gold. Can you please refer to her by her proper color? Stop
They
calling
call
her
her yellow
yellow.
at times a lot.
She's gold. She is shiny and gold.
That feels like an insult, and I feel like she's done nothing to deserve that, as she is, according to my notes, a corgi.
You little puppy, I love her. You little puppy.
Little pause. Also, too, threshing is the Hunger Games.
Yeah,
Yes.
done in 2 chapters.
I was like trying to explain this yesterday. Like, I do feel like this book draws so much from other sources, but I'm not mad about it because they're all things that I enjoy about worlds that we've visited before.
Right.
Like Divergent gets bad in the end. The ending of Divergent is terrible. But the beginning, the world building, the factions, the culture that comes along with like feeling like you're going to die is cool. And so it's like nice to have that. And like the fact that we didn't talk about this in the first episode, but like Xaden is a shadow slinger.
Mm-hmm.
So like very
Top tier Shadow
very,
Daddy.
very as what's his name? Azriel? No, it's
Azriel.
He's a shadow.
Nam
guy.
she cry.
Rick is also reading. We're not going to talk about what else we're reading until the end of the episode. Anyway, what's her name?
Shadow Daddy.
Violet?
No, the dragon.
He's a legit Shadow Daddy.
And Darna, I wrote this later. I didn't feel this very strongly at this point, but I wrote it later when she's like trying to get her to like do a single thing to save her own life. She's a chocobo.
She's a chocobo. Yeah, I love that.
She's a chocobo.
I don't know what that is.
It's from Final Fantasy, you nerd.
Okay, that is a unfortunate part of my education that I missed.
So
Was
there is
gaming.
also a golden chocobo. So,
And in my head, all the chocobos are golden. They're chickens.
but there is a specific golden chocobo.
But they're chickens that you ride. They're rideable chickens.
I mean, it's a little disrespectful, but fine.
They're like rocks in Throne of Glass. Rideable chickens.
Shout out to chocobos. This episode
This
is
is brought to
sponsored.
you by Final Fantasy VII.
Tristan was playing Final Fantasy VII yesterday.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, there's so many mini games in that game, and the mini game he was playing was the chocobo racing one.
Yep.
So he was racing birds.
Racing Andarna.
Okay, so let's talk about the fun stuff that comes out of this, even
Mhm.
though we've already sort of alluded to this in that I almost called her Poppy also now. Thank you, Rick.
You're welcome.
So Violet does manage to save Andarna from Jack and friends.
With the help of Shadow Daddy.
And, well, he didn't help.
He doesn't help.
He doesn't
help. He's not allowed to help, but he does potentially call in reinforcements.
Mm-hmm.
And so the large black dragon,
Omnumchikrai.
how is it pronounced?
Omnumchikrai.
No.
That's the wrong book.
Oh, Tarniarch. Tarniarch.
How did
Tairn.
how does your
Tairn in my head.
Okay, Tairn.
I call him
Yeah,
Tairn in my
Tairn.
head.
Tarniarch.
We did get a video that had pronunciation guides in it.
Mm-hmm.
And clearly I didn't pay attention. So anyway, so Tairn, giant, large black dragon shows up, and then they both bond her. So typically they're only allowed to get one dragon. Well, I shouldn't say typically. In the past, only one dragon has bonded to one rider,
Dragger, eh?
and Violet has two.
Dragger. I barely know her.
It's a new kind of beast, just like we had in FBAA.
Vampies.
Vampies. No, I love this because 10 points to Ravenclaw. I was right.
Hello. I would write too.
Okay, 10 points also to Gryffindor. I don't know.
Slytherin.
Slytherin.
Are you Slytherin?
I'd prefer to be.
He's a Slytherin
Wannabe.
rising.
Yeah. Slytherin
I
rising.
believe really strongly that I'm a Ravenclaw sun, Slytherin moon, Hufflepuff rising. That's for a different podcast.
I'm the opposite.
Yes, which makes sense because we're both Enneagram 2s and I'm a 2 with a 3 wing and you're a 2 with a 1 wing. This is why Kim and I are work married. What I think is really cool in this chapter is like she saves Andarna and then
Undone.
Tairn shows up and she thinks that she's just bonded with Tairn, and then when she goes to like recite the name for the roles, that's when Andarna's like, and me, which I think is very cute. A couple things happen here. Number one, Jack, who's been terrorizing her and throwing people off parapets, literally runs away. He
Like
runs away
a bitch.
like a little bitch. He runs away.
Yep, which is great. And she calls him out too. I love it.
And another thing that happens here that I really liked is that her dragon says to her, strength of courage is more important than physical strength. And I think that is nice.
What I like a lot is how the dragons change the writing of the book dramatically. How like she will narrate, but Tairn will hear her and respond to that narration. And I actually can't think of another book that's ever done that. And I love that. I love that so much because he's in her mind.
I will say it's one of those, I get caught up thinking about this sometimes. It's like, how would this ever translate to the screen? And because so much of that dialogue is internal or between sort of like mind to mind, I wonder how they would do that. What a director would choose to show that dialogue. Random thoughts.
Yeah, it's a really good point. Another thing that Cindy said in our lengthy conversation was that nope.
There it is.
Damn
3
it.
for 3.
Okay, but this sentence actually is about Poppy. Violet and her dragons have better chemistry and dialogue than Poppy. And what was his name? Castile.
Cassian.
Okay, so the humans all freak out because they're like, she can't have 2 dragons. We didn't even want her to have 1 dragon because she's small and we don't like her.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a problem. And Dane also kind of a little bitch here because he's like, rules are more important than love.
Dane is king bitch.
Yeah, I wrote, rip, he's not the one. We talked earlier,
Never the one.
last episode, we were like, are they gonna, like, no, he's not whatever Liam Hemsworth's character.
Thor.
Nope, that's Chris Hemsworth.
PETA.
Nope, that's the other one.
Shadow Daddy.
What's his
We
name?
did this last time too.
Gale.
Okay, he's not Gale. He's not even Gale. Like, Dane, I'm not interested in you.
Maybe there's a redemption arc. We'll see.
No, he's a little bitch.
Says the person who read the books.
I don't like him.
Fine. Mom also sucks here.
Yeah. She did this whole thing and Mom doesn't care.
Yeah, and Mom's like, let her say the name of the dragon.
Yeah.
Like, Mom doesn't even think that she freaking earned it. It sucks. No one's...
I do. So I think this is the part where like Dane comes and kisses her, right? And then she's like, "That was awful. I did not like that one bit." So I laughed. I put it in our text message. I was like, "Dane," and then Dane later tells her, "This can't be because of the rules." Blah blah blah. So he friend zoned her and gets friend zoned by her in the same period, which I thought was really funny.
Yeah, if he loves his rules so much, he should marry them.
Yep.
I also wrote after she kissed him or he kissed her, and then she was like, I've wanted this my whole life, and now I feel nothing. I wrote, but I don't want it. No, I can't want it anymore.
There's Wicked. There you go. All right, and then we go to the archives. We're looking for books.
Guys, I love the archives.
Why? Why did you love the archives?
First of all, I love a library. Second of all, we meet a character named Jacinia who appears to be deaf.
Crazy.
But I was so excited for you guys to get to that chapter. And not only is she potentially a deaf character, but also violet signs too.
Yeah.
So Navaran Sign Language is a thing, which I love.
I had to reread that a couple times. I wasn't sure. I was very confused, actually.
Yeah, I'm just saying, if Duolingo has like Klingon and Dothraki, if anybody is listening, I would like to learn Navarian sign language.
Duo's dead.
He's back.
He's back?
Yeah, he's been resurrected.
Nice.
And he said, "Did you really think I was going to let a Cybertruck kill me?"
That's amazing, actually. I love that.
So while she's in the archives, she asked Jacinia to find a book for her, the Book of Fables that she mentioned in the beginning, and then they talked about it again when they were on the Gauntlet. And then she asked Jacinia to find the book for her, and Jacinia's like, I've never heard of that book. So this is now the 3rd time this book has come up, so I believe it to be important. And I predict, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. You're going to take my prediction. I know what you're going to say.
I think her dad wrote it.
Oh, it's not what I was going to predict.
What are you going to predict?
Well, she wants this book because she's like, we learned these stories about wyverns and verins, and we're fighting them at some point in this book. We're going to fight a wyvern and a verin because those are real.
Oh, okay. I don't think our predictions are mutually exclusive.
No, neither do I. They're real, even though they're stories, but they are going to come up later. They're the big bad's henchmen or something.
I have no predictions.
That's my prediction. And after she goes back to the Riders Quadrant, somebody says, "Fuck me, it's always something around here," and that is my favorite quote from the book so far.
More than that ass.
More than that ass. But I also wrote a clapping emoji and wrote "Tell him, girl," and I don't know what that's about. So who does she tell off here? Is it Dane?
Maybe. I don't remember.
I don't remember either. And ChatGPT, where we have our summaries here, are not doing a lot.
Yeah, it's not great because I did it in a mass thing. I usually do it chapter by chapter, but I didn't have time. But we get to a really cool part here where she, Violet, is going to sleep, right? And she gets attacked. She gets attacked by a bunch of different, I don't know, I'm going to call it cadets, right? And
Unbonded cadets who didn't bond and don't have dragons.
Right, because the thought...
And Jack.
Jack was there?
Jack's there, yeah. Maybe
don't think
not.
Jack
No,
was
because
there.
Jack would have been dead.
John Cypher
John
was there.
Seifert's there. That's who it is. Yep.
Because
bad.
their thought is like, oh, we'll kill the people who bonded, and then the dragon will want us instead, and everybody wants Tairn. So she's getting attacked, right? She's getting ready to die. She's talking to Tairn. Tairn's like, you need to let what?
She's getting ready to
She's getting ready to die. That's what she said. She's like, I'm gonna die. I'm finna die now. And Tairn's like, hold on, I'm sending help. And I knew Shadow Daddy was coming, but we just had to wait for him. And so he's not coming quickly enough though, and she's about to die. And Andarna's like, pause, literally. She paused time, which is crazy. And then Shadow Daddy comes and just fucking kills everyone.
And it's also worth noting that Violet did do some damage before Xaden showed up. So
Right.
I want to give her credit where credit is due. She did fuck some stuff up, but it was like, what, 7-on-1?
Yeah, she did a good job. She didn't kill anybody though, which
And
is
she's-
important.
Right. And Xaden is mad at her about that. But she's sleeping in her dragon scales and has all of her daggers around her, so she was ready. So yes, she did do some non-lethal damage. We do learn 2 important things about the dragons through this. We did know that the dragons give their power, in essence, to their rider, and that creates a signet, which is their particular power that they have. But the little baby dragons, of which Andarna is still our little tiny golden retriever puppy right now, is just able to give all of her power right now to the rider. Hence, she's able to stop time through Violet,
Yeah,
who I again almost called Poppy.
You're welcome.
This is when we learn that Andarna is a little baby dragon,
Mhm.
and that's what a feathertail is, and that's why they aren't allowed to bond, and that's why they're not really seen. And that's also why nobody's seen a baby dragon, because a baby dragon is a feathertail.
And they have to keep this secret now. Keep it secret. Keep
We
it safe.
also get some Wool Dragon family, right? So like Violet's dragon and Xaden's dragon are bonded mates, and we did know that when like in the ceremony where they get bonded to each other. But so that means that Violet can communicate with Xaden's dragon, and Xaden can communicate with Violet's dragons, and Andarna's like, and me, which is very cute. They are not her parents, but they do seem to have adopted her.
Hashtag dad life.
She's so cute. I love her.
I'm obsessed with her.
I love her.
Okay, and then the big sort of climactic thing that happens in these chapters is that they have their morning assembly the next morning, and Xaden charges one of the other wing leaders with basically treason against Violet for leading this attempt to kill her. And because the dragons can see into their riders' memories, Tairn ends up sharing the memory of what happened the night before with all of the dragons in attendance, and therefore proving the claim to be true.
Yep. And acting like king little bitch that he is, Dane is like, it couldn't have been her. She's a wing leader. And that's it. That is his argument.
Right, because he believes in the rules
Right.
more than he believes in anything else.
Right. And Violet even called it out. She's like, Shadow Daddy is up there defending me off of nothing but my word. And I've known dude all my life. And he's like, you're wrong. Shadow
Daddy and Dude are their Christian names. Also, what happens here after Xaden comes in and kills everybody, he says he has to check and see if her ribs are bruised. And so he undoes her corset just a little bit, just to see if her ribs are bruised.
And she is.
And
he knows his way around a corset, she says.
And her boots as well. And this little tiny bit about the corset and the boots is sexier than all of From Blood and Ash. It's so subtle, but it's so good. This, I know it's not soup, but I'm getting a whiff of soup.
Oh, she is thirsty as hell, and I love it. Like, I love it. It's great. Yeah.
It's
the broth is simmering.
Yeah.
The broth is simmering. Yeah.
It's been great.
Yeah.
It's been great. I've been loving this book so far a lot.
Another little moment that I love from this section is the part where the dragons start sniffing her because she's wearing dragon scale armor. I thought that was very cute.
And they
I
smell
just like,
the other dragon.
oh yeah, they smell her sister's dragon. I love the dragons as a species. I'm just so interested in them. They're very cool. And I appreciate, there's dragons in all sorts of lore. But I appreciate that these dragons are the same but different from other dragons that we've met in other worlds, in other books.
What's our homework, Amanda?
Our homework is to read chapters 21 through 30. Rick, that means when you see 31, stop reading.
And I will have to say, just based on when we'll probably put these out, if you're listening, all two of you, and would next week I looked at our schedule for recording. It's a quick turnaround.
Yeah.
So if you actually are listening to this now and just want to finish the book, that might not also be the worst, because we have a quick turnaround.
Yeah, we have spring break coming up in a couple weeks. And so we're trying to finish this book before spring break. We're going to do a little post-spring break bonus episode where we'll read a whole book and we'll tell you about it rather than split it up. But we'll let you know about that after we're done with Fourth Wing.
And real quick, are you reading anything else right now?
I am. I finished reading Did You Hear About Kitty Carr? That's pretty good. I liked the story. It has Evelyn Hugo vibes, but not quite as engaging, I would say. There's just I'm once again asking to remember less information about fewer characters. This is my feedback about every book I've read. And then I started Don't Want You Like a Best Friend, which is supposed to be like Bridgerton meets The Parent Trap, but with lesbians. And, it's cute. It's nothing about it is my style, but I'm committed to finishing it.
We love historical queer romance.
Yeah, I just when I say I like historical fiction, I think what I mean is I like 20th century fiction, but everything is Bridgerton, so I thought I would give a debutante season a try, and I'm just not interested in it. I don't know. I'll finish it. But that's my beef with it. It's not anything else.
What are you reading, Kimberly?
I am following in Rick's footsteps here, and I am reading Heartless Hunter right now.
You liking it?
So, yeah, it's good. I am a third of the way through it, so curious to see where it goes. Thank you for your early feedback and spoilers that I've heard as you read it, but enjoyable.
Yeah. And I, always ever needing to read the new hotness. I'm reading Quicksilver. I've seen this book pop up on Reddit so many times since I started this reading journey. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. It's time. Let me read this book. It's pretty good. And She Cries in it. In this book, they start with a pronunciation guide of characters. And I was like, I can't do this. This isn't real. And one of the characters' names is She Cry.
The second book in that series is coming out in November, so I'm committed to reading this book in the fall so we can read the second book when it comes out.
Which will be season 8 of the pod.
Yeah, we did some mapping out. We're trying to finish the Fourth Wing books this school year, but we'll read some other stuff peppered in some special episodes in between.
She Cry.
He's going to be insufferable.
I can't wait till I beat that person. All right. Well, thank you all for listening. Enjoy Fourth Wing.